What is the stupidest thing you have ever done? Got really high while home alone and decided to eat my girlfriend's zucchini bread. Basically my high brain only sent a single chew command followed by an instantly regretful swallow. I felt the gigantic chunk of once chewed bread lodged in my throat immediately. My first step was to try to take a drink of water to wash it down, and I could literally feel the cold stop halfway down my throat. Then panic set in, and I grabbed a chair from the table and tried giving myself the Heimlich to no avail. I stood up, and for the first time in my life I could see the darkness coming in from the outside of my vision. I could feel myself starting to pass out, and decided to go for broke, and just shoved my entire hand down my throat, and broke it up. Took a huge gasp, saw stars, and had throat skin under fingernails. Throat hurt for a good couple weeks, but at least I'm alive. Happy you're alive too. That's terrifying. Tell me about it. I'm lucky it was bread. If it was steak I would have probably just pushed it deeper. It honestly gives me goosebumps to think about, and it happened a couple years ago. Chew your food. When I was 19 my friends and I used to go driving around in my Jeep Wrangler. One day we decided to longboard behind it while holding an extension cord. Think similarly to how people water ski behind a boat. On our first attempt I decided to be the guinea pig. Since it was my idea, things started off fine, so they sped up to like 15 or maybe 20 miles per hour. I decided it was too fast, so I jumped off the board and started running while I dropped the cord on the ground. By some freakish miracle the cord wrapped around my leg and started dragging me. I was dragged for probably a good 100 feet before they were able to get the driver to stop. My underwear got melted to my skin and I had to peel it off, which was one of the most painful things that's ever happened to me. I couldn't sleep on my back for a couple weeks. I'm Johnny Knoxville and this is the Alabama Wakeboard. I'm from Alabama and I approve this message. Finally gathered the courage to tell my high school girlfriend that we weren't working and that I wanted to break up. While forgetting that particular day was her birthday. Sophomore year was a ton of fun. It is also important to note that this was a phone call. In 10th grade I asked out a girl who had a crush on me because my friends and my future current girlfriend egged me to do it. Never had a girlfriend before, so I figured why not? Immediately realized I didn't like her that way and spent a couple weeks working up the nerve to break it to her. Couldn't handle the guilt anymore and just told her. She broke down and I felt awful for honestly the rest of high school, but a year after we became friends and she jokes about it. So yeah, sophomore year was great. Oof, sounds like what I went through. I made a bet with my friends for a bag of hot Cheetos that I could swallow a biscuit whole without any water. Long story short, my attempt went south. This dry biscuit got lodged in my throat and I couldn't breathe for more than 30 seconds. I eventually knocked it out, but not without some panicking. I very well could have passed out or died by choking like this. I never got my bag of Cheetos. Sounds like you earned that bag. And he got some dough out of it too. Are we talking British biscuits, cookies, or American biscuits sorta like scones? Either way I can't imagine how you thought you could swallow one whole. We're talking American biscuits. Dry, flaky, about the size of your fist. I really don't know why I thought I was able to cram it down my throat. When I was a kid, my father took me to the depth store to buy a new winter jacket. He complained the whole time about the cost of new coat. Fast forward to later that day, I was in the garage playing and I came across a can of blue spray paint. I shook it a few times and became very curious as to what was inside of that can that was clicking around. I secured the can in the vise and gave it a good solid whack with the claw side of a hammer. It was a wooden ball. I got hit a lot. Still trying to figure out what the jacket part was about. I thought you were going to say you spray painted the new jacket your dad begrudgingly bought. Busting the can got paint on the jacket. He busted the can, ruined the jacket, then was hit for it. I mean, I doubt it was clean after that. When I was little I ate Comet the cleaning chemical because I thought it was mozzarella cheese. I sprinkled it on my pizza and after the first bite, quickly realized it wasn't cheese. For those that don't know, Comet is bleach that comes in a green bottle. To my young brain it looked exactly like the mozzarella cheese you would dazzle on a slice of pizza that would also come in a green bottle. I think I grew up fine since then. You didn't. Because all this time, you thought it was mozzarella cheese. It's Parmesan cheese in the green can. I knew something was off in the story, but couldn't place it. This makes sense. I think I grew up fine since then. Well, I mean, you're on Reddit. I won't say fine. Why does your cheese come in cans? Punched a window out of anger and severed my median nerve, causing like 75% paralysis of my right hand and thumb. I guess that's why they call it window pane. Window related injuries are a real pain in the glass. Nurse here. I've seen a surprising number of patients with significant, painful, and permanent hand damage from angrily punching through glass, drywall, into concrete, etc. Don't do it. I was thankful there was a doctor in the building. Also, I was very close to severing my artery. I'm happy to be alive. I've never understood the whole punch a building in anger thing some people do. I mean, I've punched and strangled a pillow before but never intentionally punched a wall or anything like that. Paid off my now ex-fiance's student debt. My mentality was, we're going to be married, it'll be my problem soon anyway. She left me a few months later. Annoying in retrospect, you still made the right choice though. You trusted her and loved her, and that's the way to go through life, not doubting everyone. Appreciate that. I try to think of it as having been the right move, but I keep wishing I had waited until after the wedding. I'd be a few thousand richer if I had. Sounds like you actually got out cheap. Probably the smartest thing you ever did. Imagine if not paying the debt meant you'd gotten married, then paid off the debt, then had the cost of a divorce shortly after. I wasted $2,000 as a kid because I thought CR cards were unlimited money. What card company would just give a kid a $2 million CR line and not think that's a bad idea? Did they even run your CR score? It was my dad's. I used his Apple account, which indeed the card was already in there. This reminds me of that one Lizzie McGuire episode where her friend maximumed out a $5K CR card trying to make his debut movie as a director. Wait, so you're still a kid? Have you still not noticed your typo? I really regret it. It has been over 5 years, and I still feel guilt. I put the entire lump of wasabi they give you at sushi restaurants in my mouth. That makes my eyes water and nasal passages burn just reading about it. Nah, the trick is you just treat it like a shot of alcohol. No chewing or swishing, right to the back of the throat and swallow. Can't taste something if it's not in your mouth. I also have done this on a dare, if you couldn't tell, mainly to get someone else to do it after me. They didn't do so well. I love that feeling. It's the best part of eating sushi. Sometimes, that's what you need. I do that on purpose and enjoy it. I had a good friend of about 2 years who decided to send me an "I would love to date you" email on Valentine's Day, right when I was starting to date my now wife. I don't know why the lady decided to do it over email, but when I got the email I did not know what to do about it, so I set up another date with my now wife and then forgot about it for 6 months because I guess the emailer did not feel like calling me. So basically I ghosted a good friend who then rightfully became an enemy, and I have not really talked to her since. I feel terrible about it every time it floats to the top of my thoughts. Got pregnant before I was married. Now have a 44-year-old son who has a father that never wanted to know him. I ruined his life with mine. He is okay, but wonders what was so wrong with him that a father wouldn't want to know him. That is my fault. Nothing's wrong with him. I'm sure he was a charming baby too. Some men just can't be good fathers. That doesn't mean their offspring are at fault at all. Note: and some people, regardless of gender, are going to be garbage parents because that is just how it is. It's not the kid's fault though. I was 5 or 6 and was a big fan of the Lego Star Wars games, and when you have a lightsaber you can do a sort of melee attack or something, but you basically just stab the lightsaber into the ground. I tried to do that with a wooden stick from a chair and hit myself in the eye. I remember passing out, and I don't remember anything after that. But everyone says I didn't pass out. Probably just because I was young, but I remember knowing I didn't remember what happened. That and not telling the person I liked that I liked them for 7 years. Compared to the rest of the comments this is nothing, but here we go. I was really young and in my room watching YouTube on my old tablet. I started to do this thing where I would put my thumb up into my nostril, then pull it out kind of like a suction cup. I started to zone out and forgot I was doing it, so when I realized I had zoned out I looked at my thumb and there was lots of blood. Somehow I suctioned blood out of my nose or something, and blood was everywhere. Rest in peace the washcloth that died that afternoon. Dove into shallow lake water in a lightning storm. Keys and phone in my pocket. Keys in bottom of lake. Severe concussion. Wait an hour for spare keys from friend. Drive myself to the hospital 45 minutes away. Get pulled over. Somehow don't end up in jail. Lose spare keys in hospital. Send home. Take off my C collar to play indoor soccer that night. Puked all over friend's car after the game as he drove me home. Car towed from hospital because parked in emergency short-term parking. Ooh, this was recent. I normally keep Visine in my front left pocket. One day, my eyes were heckin' dry. So, feeling a small bottle in my front left pocket, I grabbed it and squeezed it repaironi straight in the eyeball. It was not Visine. It was permanent fabric adhesive. Caught it immediately. Flushed my eyes for 20 minutes. Was fine. Glad I learned this lesson with a 30-minute fabric adhesive and not, say, super glue. While riding a rent-a-scooter in Nashville, I took one hand off the handlebars to adjust my sunglasses. Lost control and went down hard. I was doing about 15 miles per hour. Serious road rash on both and elbow. At least I covered my head with my arms, which is why I had road rash on my elbow. Oh yeah, I've been riding a motorcycle for 19 years, never gone down. Rode that scooter for 15 minutes before this happened. I ran over my mom with a golf cart when I was 7. That is hilarious. Did she laugh, or did you cop it? She wasn't laughing because I broke her foot, but it was one of those moments as a kid where you don't realize the consequences. I did this to accept it was grandpa. He promised me we wouldn't tell my grandma if I didn't tell anyone he was gonna smoke a cigar. How did you even got golf cart at age of 7?